Cornhusker. Go Big Red, man.
Yeah.
We own property in Omaha, actually.
I'm about to put an offering on a few there myself.
Cool, man. There's a lot of you guys interested in Texas. Look at you go. Some of y'all
Go Big Red.
Oh. Don't get him started. Although our son definitely, his Nebraskan half is definitely shining bright. He is really, really big.
What are you trying to say?
Nebraskans are big.
Yeah, we're pretty big.
Well, hey, everybody. Okay, so it's already 1:05 Central. So I will go ahead and introduce our, I'll just kind of give you guys an idea what's going on. So we are now open up shop in the Galveston and Crystal Beach markets, which I am very excited about. I plan to buy one myself so that I can have one beach property in every single state in the Gulf Coast. So no matter where the hurricane comes, I will lose one. So anyway, I plan to buy one. The returns are looking really good. We're really excited about it. The mortgage shop is able to do our commercial loans in Texas now. So for those of you who don't know what that is, 20% down, you can do it, drop it right in your LLC. You don't have to do any quick claims, and it does not count towards your personal DTI. It doesn't take into account your personal DTI. It's not based on your income. It is only based on what the property will make on a 1-to-1 ratio. So if your mortgage is $1,000, the property only needs to be to show that it can make $1,000, which of course it will, otherwise you would not be buying it. So Brenna is not on the call, she's traveling. So keep that in mind. We can do our commercial loan there, cannot do conventional just yet. We're waiting for that license to go active, but we can get you that commercial loan for now. So I'm gonna introduce our agents in Crystal Beach. Where are you on my screen? There you are. Kimberly and Jason, they also own properties. They are past short-term shop clients. They also own properties in the Smokies. They own in Crystal Beach, so they can they can compare and contrast for you. I think a lot of you own stuff in the Smokies. So really excited to introduce them. I'll go ahead and I'll let them introduce themselves, and they have some talking points, and then we'll open it up for questions. There are a shit ton of you in here, a lot more than I expected. So make sure when we are asking questions, we use the hand raise function. Otherwise, it will be chaos. So thank you so much for coming, and I'll give it to Kimberly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Avery. Hi, everybody. I guess I should say hi, y'all. Since I'm talking about Texas today, I don't say y'all very much, but hey, y'all. So I'm Kim Moore, and I am the currently licensed Texas agent for the short-term shop in Galveston and Crystal Beach. I've been doing real estate over 20 years. I actually worked my way through college doing real estate. It was a pretty good gig. So I've been in Houston for about 12 years, but I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. And so I call the Great Smoky Mountains my family home, but Houston has become my new home. So we do own short-term rentals in both places, so we can kind of compare and contrast markets for you if you'd like. But we've just done a lot of investing over 20 years. We've done a lot with flips and short-term rentals, and so we love real estate. This is what we do. We've also had some very high corporate gigs, so we understand where some of you are coming from, and it's just a really cool thing that we're doing. And this is my husband Jason. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, I'm Jason Moore, and good to be here. And just for disclosure purposes, I am a licensed realtor in another state, but not yet in Texas, but should be licensed here within the next couple of weeks. So any comments that I make are strictly from the perspective of an investor in the Smokies and here in Texas.
Thanks. So just a little bit about the different areas that we're talking about today. I'm going to go through some talking points here because it'll probably weed out a lot of the questions that you already do have. So why invest in Crystal Beach and in Galveston? So where we're situated is really, it's in between, or it's a great place for beach goers. We're drawing people from 4 of the largest cities in the US. So you've got Houston, Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. Those are all less than 250 miles away. So that's where we're getting a lot of the regional pool in Texas. It is the closest beach to all of those cities, and all of those cities are going gangbusters right now in terms of growth. So Galveston and Crystal Beach, they're all part of the same county. So if you're doing any type of searches, if you search Galveston County, you're going to pull both locations. However, they are both very, very different. Not better, not worse, just very, very different. So Galveston is probably the most known to everyone. It's about 50 miles from downtown Houston. It's been a vacation destination for Houstonians for well over 100 years. There's a lot of money in Galveston. A lot of Houston executives have second homes down there. So you'll see over 2,700 short-term rentals down there. Does skew the data just a little bit for AirDNA because a lot of those executives will just rent out their short-term rentals to break even, or sometimes they'll just rent it out on the weekend. But it's a very, very prominent short-term rental market. The population in Galveston is around 50,000. There's a lot of infrastructure in Galveston. So East Galveston, there's a lot of bars, restaurants, shops, museums, art galleries, pleasure pier. It's a very touristy type destination. There's a huge cruise ship terminal there. They actually just expanded to another cruise ship last week. So a lot of infrastructure is going in there. West Galveston is more where your short-term rentals are. They're a little bit more away from the restaurants and bars. So it's really more of a beach life. However, they've got access to all of that within probably a 40-minute drive over in Galveston. Crystal Beach, very, very different. Avery and I have kind of coined this as country beach. I love it. I love Crystal Beach. We discovered it, just a while back, and it's only a 2-mile, 30-minute ferry ride from Galveston. Or if you're coming from Houston, you can take I-10, 90 minutes, and you're right in Crystal Beach. It's about 23 miles of just beaches. There are 2 motels, and I'm using the word motel very, very generously, in Crystal Beach. Crystal Beach is built all on short-term rentals. It's been around for a long time. It's not as heavily regulated. There are property managers here that do it the old school way. But they're very, very profitable. So there's about 2,000 to 3,000 full-time residents in Crystal Beach. Crystal Beach is building back, and it's really gotten discovered actually over the past, I would say, 3 years. It was super discovered during COVID because during the beginning of COVID, Galveston completely shut the beaches down. Crystal Beach said, we're not doing that. The beaches are fully open. And so the influx came from everywhere, and you couldn't find a short-term rental for months and months. They were completely booked. And so now it's very, very well known in all the 4 major cities, and it's getting a lot of press right now. It's a very, very different vibe over in Crystal Beach. You can drive on the beach, so you can camp on the beach, you can tailgate on the beach. The weekends are crazy, crazy packed. In fact, we were just talking today that we're not really seeing a slow season yet. We're in October, and I can't get in short-term rentals to show them because they're booked. So very, very different vibe. It's very laid back. Everything on Crystal Beach is all about the outdoors, lots of fishing, and just really spending time with families and short-term rentals. There is one major store on Crystal Beach. It's called the Big Store because it's the grocery store, it's the hardware store, it's the everything. And then there's lots of restaurants, but the infrastructure is just not what you see in Galveston. So I'm just trying to kind of compare and contrast for you the difference in the 2 areas in terms of the vibe and what you get. With Galveston, great opportunities for, in terms of investment. Again, I said there's a lot of infrastructure there. you're going to pay a little bit more for that infrastructure. And you're going to see that in the prices when you look through the listings. So as I said, there's about 2,700 short-term rentals out there. There is active regulation, but you're going to see that the air DNA data for Galveston looks a lot like Crystal Beach right now, but you're just going to pay a little bit more for the properties. Crystal Beach, as I said, a little bit lower regulation. You don't have to apply for a business license. There's no registration. You're just paying the hotel occupancy fee. You pay that straight to the state. Or if you do like we suggest you do and you manage through Airbnb, then they're going to take care of that for you. Over in Galveston, you are going to pay a little bit more in terms of hotel occupancy. You're going to pay to the state as well as the city. And you're going to have to register your short-term rental over in Galveston. So just a little bit more regulation over there, but both areas very short-term friendly. And we see that being for the long term right now. So I guess that's just like a really quick overview of the two areas to kind of give you a compare and contrast. I'm guessing the next thing you're going to ask me is numbers. What's the numbers look like? Because everybody keeps talking about the numbers and Avery's already ready to buy. So and she's gonna buy it probably by the end of the weekend, I'm guessing. So 4-bedroom. Well, after this call, I'm guessing you might have some competitors. But so for a 4-bedroom is what I usually try to compare and contrast, because that's where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck, I think, in some cases, and that's where you're gonna see your most revenue really coming through. So for a 4-bedroom over in Galveston, the 2020 data was pulling the revenue, and I like to deal in revenue. That's what I focus on. So the revenue is pulling about $107,000 per year. I'll tell you, it's pretty conservative, but the numbers are meeting that.
And that's what, 75th percentile?
And that's at the 75th percentile. Most of the properties that we're looking at right now, that's what we're seeing the average. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. Again, this is air DNA data. We are not projecting for you what your actual property will make. We're giving you the air DNA data today. If I look over in Crystal Beach, a 4-bedroom, you're going to see about the same. However, I can tell you that my 4-bedroom in Crystal Beach is going to exceed that. So it's going to probably be about 120, and that's what you're going to see. I've got a couple properties I can pull up here and show you examples of today. And then I can tell you that my 4-bedroom in the Smokies is doing about the same right now. Luke's going to tell me that I'm setting my prices too low, and he's probably right. So that's just some quick examples of what the air DNA data looks like. We're going to publish that air DNA data later today, I think, Avery, on the website, so you all will be able to see that soon. So let me try to just pull a couple properties up here that we can share. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So the property we were looking at actually just went under contract yesterday, but I love this property and I think it was a really good contract. So this is over in Crystal Beach. This is 4-bedroom, $789. So this gives you an idea of what you can get here for the money. This is the view that they've got. You're right in front of the beach. This lot is a protected, unobstructed view. You're going to see some of these houses that come up for sale that have these unobstructed, protected views because these are county buyout lots. So what happened after Hurricane Ike is the county came in and said, hey, anybody that doesn't want to rebuild, we'll buy the lot from you, and then we're going to own that lot, and then we're going to protect that lot, and no one's going to build there again. So some of these homes, this is like one of my rentals that I have. It's around the same price range. And it's got this gorgeous, gorgeous view. You're right next to the beach. I mean, you're basically on the beach, and that view is completely protected. So this is $789. I'll tell you that this place was under a property manager, a local property manager here through the past 2 years. and it's averaged around 125K revenue. So that's one example for a 4-bedroom. Let's switch over to Galveston. Can somebody tell me, can you see my Galveston property here?
Yes.
Great. This is a 4-bedroom over in Galveston. You can see, you know, you're not too far from the beach here. Yeah, maybe 600 feet, I think.
Mm.
600 feet. This is listed for 900,000. It's actually in a really good short-term rental area. This is over in Pirates Beach. So great property. You're going to notice the finishes in these homes are all, sorry, I scroll really fast because I look at these things all day. But you're going to see the finishes in these homes. A lot of them are not going to need any updating. You're not going to be doing a lot of renovation. Even though you see Crystal Beach right now, a lot on Beachfront Bargain Hunt. For those of you who are fans of that show, I love that show. I watch it all the time. But you're going to see, you know, it's pretty nice finishes for what you get. So 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 900. It's probably going to, the air DNA data, actually I have that on that one, and that's at 130. I'll switch back to Crystal Beach for you. This is another 4-bedroom. Can everybody see this one?
Yes.
Good. Cute little yellow house here. Yeah, this just sold actually at the end of September for $615. It again, actually just down there yesterday because this blue one right here is for sale right beside it. It's a 2-bed. But you're about 500 feet from the beach. Really great outdoor area, fun tiki bar. I love this little one. But 4-bed, just a lot of fun for renters. You can see the finishes inside are just awesome. Granite countertops. You know, you're not going to have to touch this thing. This one actually did 120 last year.
And you just broke the Facebook group.
So that's my examples for, you know, again, I tend to use 4-bedrooms. I'm kind of comparing and contrasting Crystal Beach and Galveston. Here's another Galveston property. So they're not, you don't always find the high end over there. Here's a Galveston property at 760. This is actually in a really good location too. I think it's also Pirates Beach. This does have an HOA. I try to stay away from HOAs just because they're taking more of my money. But this has got some really good amenities for your renters. And this one did 100K last year with Evolve. So I don't know if any of you all use Evolve or you're familiar with Evolve, but you know, you manage this thing on your own, and I think you can do better than that. But you can see you got some views of the beach right there. Some of the nice amenities that this has, you know, you got a big pool, but this HOA is going to run you about $4,500 a year. So a little bit more expense there, but you might like the amenities for your renters. I guess I'll just share one more property. If I go back to, I can move that. There we go. If I go back to this one, I was in this property yesterday and I should have pulled it up. It's a 2-bed. And the one right beside it, since Luke liked this one, is actually, I'll get there eventually, but a 2-bed, not right next to this one. The view from the master bedroom is incredible on the top. It's being offered for $589 right now, and it did 80K last year. So really good numbers for a 2-bedroom, I think. I'm sure you guys are tired of me screwing around with pictures here. So I guess let's open it up for questions.
I have a question. So first of all, wow, fantastic. You guys are awesome. Great job knowing your stuff. And I guess my question is, what do you know about flood zones? Are we dealing with a lot of X-flood zones, AEs, Cobra? What do we have?
Yeah, a little bit of all of it.
The above?
Yeah, you got a little bit of all of it. Actually, the flood zones are, we knew we were going to get this question, so we spent a lot of time with our flood insurance agents earlier this week. And the flood insurance just changed for everyone October 1st. So I'll give you an example of the beach house that I gave you. That was the 4-bed that had the awesome view out front. That is a B zone. And that is probably going to have a better rating this year than it did last year. The Stingery house that I showed you on, that was about 500 feet from the beach, so 615. That's also going to be a B zone. And it's going to be, well, their insurance premiums are probably going from about 3,000 down to about 1,300. So with the new ratings that have come back and all the changes with FEMA that were effective October 1st, you read in the media, it's going to be such a horrible thing for everyone. And they're completely not portraying that accurately. Actually, every policy that my flood insurance provider has written over the past 2 weeks has gone down. She's talking like people that are having $5,000 policies going to 1,300. So a lot of the grandfather rules that you've been used to, is this an A zone? Is it grandfathered? Can I transfer a policy? A lot of that stuff is changing. You're still going to be able to transfer a policy, but your rates are probably going to go up each year. And what they're trying to do is equalize the market. So not everybody is going up that steep jump that everybody is talking about.
It sounds like, Luke, what they're looking to do is start to do the underwriting, not necessarily by zones, but look at the individual property, where it sits, but also how old or new is it? All of those types of things, to where, yeah, if you've had these historically $800 a year flood rates, that's probably going up. But if you've had 5,000 a year, that may be going down. And so it sounds like a lot of the brokers are working to understand just exactly the impact, but that's kind of directionally, it sounds like, where things are going.
Well, it sounds like not really huge consequences with flood insurance in this. I mean, there are certain areas of the Cape where you can be in the $10,000 range for a flood policy. Not the case here.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I say no, and you may have a multi-million-dollar property. I looked at one yesterday that was $1 million property. It is literally sitting on the beach, and I'm wondering what their insurance rates are. So I don't want to say no, you're never going to have a $10,000 policy, but I can tell you I haven't seen one here.
And also, for the Moors and for everybody else on this call, I recently contacted a company called the National Flood Experts, and this is a company out of Florida that can and has a very good probability of changing your flood zone with the national government before you even close the property, which could lower your flood insurance because you're in a different flood zone. And I'm actually looking into that on one of my properties right now. Now, again, $1,300 a year, that does not offend me whatsoever. I would be happy to pay that flood policy all day long.
All day long.
I can.
So we got a bunch of stuff in the chat here. Sorry, I was getting the data up on the website. Crystal Beach is up and the link is in the chat. I'm just about to hit publish on Galveston, and I'll put it in the chat too. I'll also go put it in the Facebook group if you guys are missing it.
Plenty of hands raised as well.
Okay, cool. There's a couple in the chat, and then we'll go in order of hands raised. How much do you have to have set aside for maintenance and external wear and tear on an annual basis? I would say, it's really not that much. I say budget 1% to 3% for maintenance as a whole. So I would say that applies there.
Also, to me, that one depends on how updated. If you go into a property and really smash it out with new countertops and new floors and new appliances, obviously CapEx is going to go down. If it's a bit dated, then it's going to go up.
And I would say, you know, it's the beach. And so whether it's this beach or Florida or anywhere else, you know, AC unit might not last 15 years and your roof might not last as long, but it's just, you're going to have that at any beach.
Can you address the cost of property tax in the area? So what's the hotel tax, occupancy tax in this market?
Yeah, so the hotel and occupancy tax, it's 6% to the state of Texas, and then there is nothing in Crystal Beach. It is another 9% over in Galveston, so it's 15% total on the Galveston side. Property tax in Texas, there's no state property tax, it's all local. And so there's over, I think, something like 4,000 taxing districts within the state of Texas. And so it really does depend on the location of the specific property as to, you know, are there special school districts that you're tied to or utility districts or those types of things. So literally you've got to sort of look one house to the next, because if you're somewhere on the Galveston side, your property tax can be, you know, like a 2.2% rate, but you can be, and again, you know, it goes back to the infrastructure over there, so you're paying for it. But on the Crystal Beach side, you tend to see generally lower property tax rates, maybe in the 1.5% level.
Safe to say somewhere between Tennessee and Florida on property tax, I would guess.
Yeah, exactly.
A low one and a high one.
I guess the way I think about that as an investor, you know, you're either paying for it in your upfront capital costs, like in Tennessee, and it's not much on the property tax side, or, you know, Texas is kind of the reverse of that, where, you know, you can get in maybe at some lower prices, but, you know, you're going to have that as a higher operating cost potentially. Relative to Tennessee.
Avery, does this region have oh, I'm sorry. How do we sign up for MLS emails for the area? How are we going to get?
I'm about to put a link to that in the chat, so you can just set up your price range and everything. So Luke, you answer a question, give me 2 minutes to do that, and I will get it done.
Are there a lot of new constructions available?
We're seeing a lot of new construction over in Crystal Beach right now. I was just over at 4 new constructions actually in my neighborhood yesterday. So new construction is going up. There are also some new construction over in Pirates Beach right now. There's new construction to be had in both markets.
Jeanette, I think I can answer that for Avery. It's simply because we have the lovely Moors here. You cannot find real estate agents like this all over the nation. She's asking why we picked this particular town as opposed to some other beach town in Texas. We are limited to where we can find the rock stars, and these two are clearly absolute rock stars. So Avery, you want to touch on that? Or
that, and the numbers have to make sense, and the numbers do, especially the Crystal Beach stuff, they make a lot of sense. But yeah, we are limited. I would love to just be able to open up in every single market in the country, but it's hard to find good people. So,
and to me, these numbers are sounding every bit as, I mean, better than I hate to say better than any of our markets, but definitely up there. I don't find any problem with these numbers whatsoever. If I was interested in a short term, I would buy one of these today, and maybe I am after this call. Avery's going to be sending me the links. I know it.
Yeah, guys. And speaking of that, I just posted a link to the search function on our website for you to set up your MLS search. So go ahead and do that. And I don't have any price ranges set, so just click refine your search when you get to that link, and you'll be able to set it up.
But let's get to some of these hand raises. Satyam?
Yeah, hi, Luke. So a couple of questions. One, you mentioned Short-Term Shock is doing financing. You guys only doing for new purchases or construction loans as well? And the second question I have is about the numbers. Then they provided revenues, which is at a net gross, because I'm wondering about cleaning fees. How comparable are they compared to like the Smokies, for example? That's usually the big chunk from the gross that we take out for cleaning fees and all, right? So.
Okay, question one. The mortgage shop does not have a construction loan product at the moment. We may have one in the future, but for now, we do not. And in turn, we always work in any market in the short-term shop. Any data we ever give you is always going to be gross, because net is just impossible to predict, because it really depends more on you than anything. But I'll let Kim speak to what the cleaning fees are like.
Yeah, so cleaning fees are very similar to what you see in any other short-term rental market. Galveston might be a little bit more. So the other thing that I would compare and contrast with Crystal Beach and Galveston, you do have a little bit more infrastructure in Galveston. While the Crystal Beach numbers are really, really good, and there's a lot of short-term rentals. Frankly, I struggle with cleaning people everywhere. I get really great cleaning people in Tennessee, and then it's like all of a sudden they get flaky on me. So then I'm running around trying to find new people, cleaning people in Tennessee. It's the infrastructure that's built in, so you do have to kind of look for the cleaning people here. But I would say you could expect the same expense rate for cleaning people as you would in any other market. There's not really a big difference. Was there anything you would add to that?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, you want to speak to
Hey,
mine?
thank you so much, Luke. My question is just twofold. Going to follow up back on the rate of return. Can you give me a ballpark figure about what your rate of return has been, comparison maybe year over year? Just a ballpark figure. I know the net, we can't figure it out. It's going to be based on everything, but if you could give me at least a percentage of what your rate of return has been year over year. And second question, I've been looking into Galveston and Crystal Beach. Now they're kind of telling me as well too that certain parts of the beach, we have a lot of college students that go and party there versus family, that there is a lot of family there as well too. Have you experienced that in anywhere in Galveston regarding party goers there?
So I'll take the party goers question, and then I'll let him take the ROI question. For the party goers, I see that in every market that I'm in. I wouldn't say it's more so in Galveston. I wouldn't say it's more so in Crystal Beach. I wouldn't say it's more so. I have them at my cabin in Tennessee. It's just unfortunately the nature of the business that we're in.
And then on the rate of return, I'll tell you in a year, because we haven't been up and running long enough. But I know that the numbers made sense. They made a lot of sense, because like you, we've been looking in a lot of these other markets, the Smokies, Florida, and just couldn't find anything as appealing as what we did right here. To be able to get a 4-bedroom with a clear beach view, a couple hundred feet from the beach, from the Gulf of Mexico, and to be able to do north of 110 for our specific property. I'll take that any day of the week.
All day long. Are you enemy methoding to find these numbers?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would assume. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you weren't done. I was going to call the next person. Cool. Matt Bell, you are next on the list.
Thank you. Couple questions. I think one was in the chat as well, but how far south are y'all going? Are you staying only Galveston County to the pass, or are you looking at Surfside as well?
I am not in Surfside. I am staying in Galveston County. I think the ROI and the attraction here is good, is very good. I think the opportunity is good. Nothing against Surfside. I love Surfside, but that's a total different market. And I'm satisfied with the numbers here right now.
Okay. And then just the other question I think people have asked, what's the difference between being on the beach or beachfront view versus second, third row? What's the percentage difference, or some way to kind of quantify that difference?
Well, I think there's multiple points that go into that equation, right? It's what your acquisition cost, but then it's also, what are you able to get? And my personal preference, what I've found here is it seems, at least on the Crystal Beach side, there is value in maybe like row 2 or row 3, especially if you've got a FEMA buyout lot in front of you with a protected view. To be able to get something like that for a 4-bedroom in the 700 range, it seems like the returns are better there than paying $1 million or $1.1 million just to be one row up when you can almost get the same thing row 2. But that's personal opinion.
And Galveston will be the same way, just a little bit. It's going to be a little bit pricier.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
agree with that. In most of our beach markets, it's kind of a higher return on investment 2 through 10 blocks off the beach than right on the beach, just because of sheer purchase price. And then also the insurance on the actual sand is going to be quite a bit more. So I like that. As long as it's walkable, to me, it's a good one.
Like here's some total high-tech stuff. This is the picture I took from our deck
Oh,
this
that's
morning. That's the Gulf of Mexico right there. So that's what we're talking about, row 2.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, in any market, a property right on the water is really, it's probably not going to make much sense at all, unless you're like Grant Cardone and just buying it for the hell of it on the weekends, that kind of thing. Steve, yep, go ahead, Avery.
Oh, I was going to say Chelsea's public beach access, or do beachfront houses have private beach? I would think they would.
It's public beach access. There are some communities, very limited over in Galveston, that do have private beach access. Over in Crystal Beach is very public. People seem to like it that way. But there are subdivisions where you can't publicly access the beach through that subdivision, if that makes sense.
Tori, how frequently are owners who are self-managing visiting their properties, being 1.5 hours from the airport, downside for Crystal Beach? No, I don't think anybody's visiting these properties ever. That's the whole point of the short-term shop and short-term rental in general, is that you don't really need to go. I have short-terms I haven't seen in 4 years, and I just, I don't really care. Everything's virtual. I mean, I do have people in there working on them. I had several remodels in 2021 actually, and last year, and I make sure I get a lot of pictures from these contractors, and again, going back to the entry level topic here, as far as the short-term shop is concerned, the beauty of it is you have somebody that works for you, an employee that works for you, professionally cleaning this property once, twice, 3 times a week. So they're your eyeballs. You don't need to go to this property ever, Tori. Tori, sounds like you need to come to the Tuesday, Thursday consultation with Avery and I, which is a lot of fun, and it's open bar every Tuesday. Go to stsconsultation.com and we will bring you to the dark side of this short-term rental thing. Philip, good to see you, man. What do you have for us, man?
Hey guys, I was just curious in terms of the competitiveness on the offers. I mean, we all know the Smokies is super competitive. What is it like in the Crystal Beach, Galveston area?
Why do you think I'm sitting in Crystal Beach? I got tired of fighting all you guys up in the Smokies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot better then. All right, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give you the real of it. It's probably gonna change after the call today, is my guess, but so it is competitive in terms of, you're not going to get a huge discount off the asking price. So in terms of, are you going to be fighting 65 other people for one property? No, you are not. You're not. So it's going to be easier to get. I will tell you that the houses that go on market that are really good, and the realtors who really want to work and sell them, those properties go within 1 to 2 days. I will tell you, in this market, there are realtors. It is a little bit different, but I struggle to get them to work sometimes. So some of those properties you will see staying out on the market a little bit longer. 1, because they won't let people in them because they're rented, or 2, they don't return calls.
They
And
won't
they don't
call you
work.
back.
Yeah.
trying to sell it.
Yeah, so a lot of the properties here, similar to what Luke was saying earlier, are bought sight unseen. And for me as an investor, I had to get to the point that I was got really comfortable with. The first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm buying a property sight unseen. But I did it, and I've done it ever since then. In fact, my property in Crystal Beach is the only one I've ever actually seen in person.
And Tori, just to reiterate that the question that led to this before we got to Philip, we do recommend you going to the property. We're not saying you shouldn't do that. We're just saying that it is absolutely possible to do it without doing that. It is, but you do need to go there at least once, figure out how the faucets work and be able to answer the questions.
Yes.
Because, you know, you do have to tell the guests how that stuff works, but you don't need to go. Avery and I, in fact, just bought a 26-unit apartment building a couple weeks ago that we have not seen and have no plans to go see anytime in the near future. But I'm getting pictures of it constantly.
Yeah.
You're
But
not
to
saying
answer
things-
Philip, sorry, to answer your question, Philip, is you're not going to be fighting 60 other people for one property.
Okay,
Not right
and
now.
and then things like appraisal gaps and waiving contingencies, you guys aren't really seeing a whole lot of that stuff right now, like you are in the Smokies, right?
Not in this market yet. Occasionally I will see it over in Galveston, if it's a really, really hot property. But it is not, it's nowhere near like it is in the Smokies. No, it's not common.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go. Steven, you're next.
Awesome. I have two questions. The first one is kind of a play off of what's already been said, but what rents and who's renting it? Is it kind of a beach or bust? Like if you're on the sound side, you might as well not care, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Over on the Galveston side, I'd say there's a lot more diversity of renters because, like we said, on the east side, where you've got more of the bars, the restaurants, the art galleries, that type of stuff, there's more than just the beach. So you don't necessarily need to be on or near the beach.
And there's some really good STRs over there, by the way. We're talking a lot about the beach. There's some really good STRs that's on the Galveston side that's just near the shops and the Strand and all of that. And there's some great properties over there as well.
And the thing you get on the east end because of that is more diversity, right? 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, all the way up to the 4 and 5 bedrooms. East Galveston is where, you know, there's that TV show out there where they're doing the renovations on the old homes that were built in the late 1800s and turn of the century type thing that people rent out and do very well with them. But the further west you go, that's where it becomes, I would say, more about the beach. You start to get the bigger 4 or 5 bedroom, the houses are up on piers. And it may look like it's close on the map, but when there's only 1 or 2 main arteries and it's full of traffic, you're really not all that close at all. So that's more about, we're going to get all the food and grill and cook at the house and hang out at the beach and the pool and those types of things. On the Crystal Beach side, but I guess also in Galveston, you will get people that are successful over on the bay side as well. If they've got a nice property, a place somebody can dock their boat, kayaks and those types of things. You got wildlife preserves and those types of things over there. So those can also be a draw. On the Crystal Beach side, yeah, it's I would say all about the beach. And you have very few of the 1 and 2 bedrooms. It's more the 3 bedrooms and up for the beach. And I would also say that, you know, because there's not a lot of the infrastructure yet on the Crystal Beach side, the local Convention and Visitors Bureau has started to do a lot of things to try to draw traffic. So they're doing things like Jeep Days and Crab Fest and Chili Cook-Off, and they just had the first ever triathlon. And on some of those dates, I mean, you can get summer holiday rates during those weeks that basically treat it like extra holidays.
Awesome. My second question is, I've actually looked at a lot of Texas because I love Texas and I love the Gulf. So why wouldn't I buy there, right? I could never make the AirDNA numbers make sense. So are the AirDNA numbers actually that far off? You were saying numbers like 120 and stuff like that. I've yet to actually see that. And of course, this would be more for my retirement than actually an investment, if I'm being honest with myself. So it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I was kind of curious on why the Air DNA numbers were telling me like 60 or 70,000 a year versus you guys saying 100 or so.
But I don't know what type of property you're looking at and what data you're looking at, but I think Avery just published the new 2020 data out on the website. So I can tell you personally that we're going to see 4 bedrooms around 120-ish. I'm being conservative in the Crystal Beach area. I have the Galveston properties that I have looked at recently. All 4 bedrooms are somewhere between that 107 to 115. So
awesome. Is there something that stands out in your properties versus others? Like, do you have a pool or something?
No, I mean, I've got a great beach view, but I can tell you that the house I just showed you on Stingery, I mean, they don't have a view, and I mean, that thing's 4 bedrooms and it did 120 last year.
Are pools common, or are they more of a luxury?
They are more of a luxury. So that's another, I'm glad you asked that question, Luke. So pools are not common. I am seeing a few people start to put them in. There's some regulations around that, so you have to be a little careful. But you will see like resort properties over in Galveston, like the one that I showed you that has the big HOA fee. They give guests access to those types of amenities. The other thing that you don't see very commonly around here are hot tubs. I don't know how many of you have hot tub issues up in the Smokies, but you gotta have a hot tub in the Smokies. Everybody wants a hot tub, but you don't see that very often here either. It's all about the beach.
You don't see many pool tables and video games, all that stuff that you see in the Smokies. What you do see, especially on these bigger homes on piers, is people putting these tiki bars in, outside, and it doesn't have to be anything grand, but it just has to look fun in the pictures.
Yeah.
Kimberly talking down to the hot tub. I like it.
I hate those things. You couldn't pay me enough money to get one of those
Just
things.
saying what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, they're nasty.
So nasty.
Isn't Port Boulevard the same as Crystal Beach?
Yeah, so you're going to hear it called really 3 different names. You're going to hear it called Crystal Beach, you're going to hear it called Port Boulevard, and then you're going to hear it called the Peninsula. So they're all the same.
And of course, not to be confused with Destin, because we do have a Crystal Beach in Destin, which
That's
is where
right.
Avery and I's now world famous blue 4-bedroom is located.
Yeah.
Avery, want to take another question?
Yeah, so we'll grab Michael. Okay, we'll grab these last 3 and then we'll call it a day. So Michael, your turn.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So I'm actually also sitting in my house on Crystal Beach right now. I have a personal house down here. My wife and I live about an hour and a half away. So I know quite a bit about the Crystal Beach side. My question is, well, first off, the reason that nobody has hot tubs and pool tables and all that good stuff is because after they spend 10 hours on the beach and come back to the house burnt like a piece of bacon, they just want to go to bed. There's no time for any of that. But my question is, what are your thoughts on, or do you have any data for more centralized Galveston? And do you see less seasonality in that area with the event center, the pleasure pier, everything else, Schlitterbahn, and what's the pyramids over there? I'm trying to think of.
Moody Gardens.
Moody Gardens. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you see that less seasonality with a more centralized location? And what are your thoughts on ROI, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, they all perform about the same. You're looking at aggregated data when you look at this Air DNA data, right? So there is a little bit less seasonality because of the things that you mentioned. And I love that you're familiar with the area. We need to get to know you. But you do have the event center there. You got Schlitterbahn, so you got more attraction that are pulling people there. But I wouldn't say, when I look at revenue, I look at yearly revenue. I'm not really concerned about, am I pulling in this much in January? I love Luke's theory of how many months of the year am I going to have to work? But, I guess to answer your question is, yeah, you see a little bit less seasonality, but I think your overall revenue stream, when those summer months kick in and people are just really wanting to be on the beach and they're wanting to go further west, it's going to come out to about the same annually.
Excellent point, Kimberly. I love that. And folks like Gerald Pitts on the call, he understands, after you've been doing the Smokies for 3, 4, 5 years, you're kind of like, man, I could totally use a few months of not being bombarded by guests. So that's when the beach comes in handy. I love my beach properties because right around this time, like I got a couple of, I've got a broken garbage disposal right now and a 1.4, the blue house. I don't care. I do not care because I am over it. I'm checked out for the summertime, even though it's wintertime, like a kid in high school, so. And one more point, guys, don't get so obsessed with the numbers all the time. I mean, for real, just find a property that you like that makes cash, buy it, move on, buy a house, rent house, repeat. It's really that simple. Avery, you want to take one more question?
I said we'd take these last two. Joe will grab you and then Jessica will be the mic dropper.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so we were looking in the Gulf Shores area, and one of the turnoffs that we had was that we weren't able to find really good insurance. And then ones that we did find that were covering like wind and hail, had high deductibles, like 10% or more of your house value. Are you seeing that where you're at in Galveston, or what's the rates?
What about that?
I haven't seen that. Did you say 10%?
Yeah, so you buy a $600,000 home, you're on the hook for $60,000 before you ever get it to see anything that happened to a hurricane.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got some really sound insurance folks that we work with here that are familiar with coastal properties.
And most of the wind insurance in Texas goes through like one association, the Texas Wind Insurance, so something like that. That a lot of companies have pulled together to provide that type of coverage.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good question.
Well, Jessica, you are the last question of the day.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm from Houston, or actually from the coast near Galveston, so I'm very familiar with the downtown area. So I've seen the numbers for now, Crystal Beach and Galveston area. When you talk about Galveston, are you also including like the old Victorian homes? Like, is that what y'all are promoting, or you're saying stick to the beach homes on Galveston Island? Because I've been looking at some of the older Victorian homes, like near the Strand. But are y'all saying steer clear of those, or that's also kind of part of the projections? Or saying, hey, let's keep to the beach houses close to the beach. They're very different, the Victorian homes and the beach homes.
Yeah, no, we really like both of those opportunities. I will tell you that I think your beach homes will probably produce more in revenue than what just for the properties that I have personally worked on over. And I love those Victorian homes, by the way. I'm trying to convince him to buy me one. But long story short, your beach properties are going to make more. Do I still think that some of those Victorians and over toward the East End are worth a good investment? Yeah, I think they are. You're just probably not going to see as much revenue.
Maybe a different crowd too.
Totally different.
Yeah, the Strand crowd. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So I have Kim's email in the chat, Kimberly@theshorttermshop.com. If you scroll back a little bit in the chat, there is a link to the search function for, maybe I'll find it real fast. I think I clicked away from it. So scroll back in the chat for a link to search Crystal Beach and Galveston, and let us know if you have any questions. The next one we're going to do is Orlando, but we don't have a date set for that or a link yet. So let us know what questions you have. Hang on, I'm actually going to repost the link really fast to do a search, because I just spent all this time setting it up. So I want to make sure that you're using it.
So I'm sorry, Luke, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to give some general words of wisdom here before we cut out. I would say get to know the area, do your research. If you're one of those people who's like, I got to go see this area before I make an investment, go spend a weekend as a tourist. figure out what you're comfortable with. But to Luke's point, don't get caught up in analysis paralysis. You know, that's gonna keep your wheels turning all day long. Avery's put my contact information out there. You can get on my calendar. And we'd love to work with you.
And I just want to thank everybody. You know, when Avery and I started this thing in 2017, we never dreamed that something like this would happen. And now we're taking short-term shop nationwide. So let's give it hell, everybody. And thank you so much for believing in us.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Avery.
Thank
See you guys.
you.